Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 99 and today I have got some rather interesting news to start off today's episode. As you guys know, when I record these episodes I tend to have a plan, okay? I always have a plan of action because if I didn't have that, they'd just be a complete jumbled mess. Today's episode is a bit of an exception. Right now I have no idea, absolutely no clue what I'm going to be doing in today's episode, which is really very strange for me, but that is simply because I've been working hard on planning episode 100. So episode 100 fully planned, everything is good to go. I could start recording that right now and I would know exactly what I'm doing. Episode 99 on the other hand, hadn't even thought about it. I just sat down and started recording and I was like, oh yeah, what am I actually doing in today's episode? I don't have anything for it. So what I decided to do is I've sent out tweets on Twitter asking for what you'd like me to do in the episode, and I have to say there have been a large number of responses, so hopefully there's some good ones in there. The public has spoken and they have responded with BATCAVE, so I think it's only fair that we enter this thing in the most stylish way we possibly can. You ready? We're going to hit the button and hopefully this system still works. I'm going to jump off the edge and we are going to try our best to fly through the elytra door. Now at one point I got quite good at this, but oh my word, we are coming in very hot here. I would class that as a success. I don't know how we didn't die then. We seem to have hit the top of the roof, but then sort of bounced through the door. That's definitely not the Batman way of doing things. I feel like he'd have a lot more finesse than I just had, but you know what? That's good enough for me. So for those of you who haven't seen my videos in a while, this is the Batcave right here. Now, I'd say I built this probably about 20 episodes ago, maybe even more. You know, time really does fly on the Hermitcraft server, so this thing could be quite old. But I love the place. I think it's absolutely fantastic. There's loads of things going on. We've got combat training going on underneath and everything like that. But it probably could do with just a tiny bit more love. So we're going to chuck in some extra redstone contraption here, do a few extra builds up in this area especially, and hopefully get it back to its former glory. So the first thing that really needs working on is the entrance to this place. This is actually a 4x4 vault door. You wouldn't be able to tell because it seems to be permanently open. But the other thing that's worth mentioning is I have actually covered up our hidden activation device. Somewhere around here there is a stone block that if you break it, it will be replaced. I think it was actually that one, yeah, by the look of things it was. So you'd break the stone block and then it will be replaced by this stone generator down at the bottom. But apparently the stone generator has now completely stopped working. So we're going to remove all of this and replace it with a combination lock. Because this combination lock is going to require a few comparators, I thought this would be a good opportunity to wipe out all of the nether quartz that I currently have in my storage system from doing that massive nether excavation in the previous episode. That thing was enormous, and we managed to get about 3 stacks of this stuff, which isn't too bad. So as you guys know, there are quite a large number of possible combination locks. I personally have designed about 1 billion of them, but I thought I'd do something slightly different today by doing a 2 item frame combination lock. So here we have 2 item frames. Each one has got 8 different positions, which means we've got 8 possible combinations per item frame, meaning 64 possible combinations in total, which is pretty impressive for this little 3x1 area right here. And the redstone should, in theory, be pretty simple. We've got the basics right here. Now, in terms of the logic, we just need to create an AND gate for these 2 bits of redstone, which will work out if both of these redstone are active. If they are, then it will open the door. But then we need to do an OR gate, which works out if any of this redstone is active. If it is, then we close the door because one of the item frames isn't in the correct position. I hope that makes sense. I'm still trying to come to terms with it myself. Amazingly enough, guys, this thing seems to be working first time. I don't know how I've done it. I have no clue how I've pulled it off because you guys know what I'm like. But now I just need to run the input into the door and oh dear. Something had to go wrong at some point, didn't it? And I just created a hyper fast redstone clock with my large piston door. Should we see what the damage is? My word, it doesn't seem to be damaged in the slightest. We'll take a look in the next couple of seconds and see if anything really bad has happened. But for now, a repeater has to go there. And I guess we run the redstone output like this. And there we go. That should open it. Yeah, it seems to be working. So right now we have got the correct combination. Now we have the wrong combination. It closes up until we get the right combination again. This is working! First time! Even with me creating a hyper-fast clock inside the redstone circuitry for this thing. That's ridiculous! The most robust door I've ever designed. Now I've just set my combination by placing items inside the furnaces. So you can see we've got 64 in the bottom furnace, which means that the item has to go all the way around over to there to work. And then we have this one with just 7 items in the furnace, which means that our item frame is in position number 1. or I guess position 2, no, position number 1, because we take this one as position 0. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover up all of this area right here. Lovely terraforming there, and let's give it another quick tester just to make sure that it's working. It appears to be fine, unless you do that, in which case it's still fine. I honestly can't get over how much of a battering this door seems to be taking and still fully functioning. Awesome. Okay, so this thing is working absolutely perfectly. Really, really happy with that design. Now it's time to move on to the internals of the Batcave. Next plan of action, I want to build an armory in this area right here. So an area in which I can choose what armor I want to be put on. Now, this is going to be mostly for decoration. I highly doubt I'm going to be using it too often, but this is the Batcave, okay? It's not exactly a useful area. I just want things to be looking cool. Now, don't get me wrong, just because I'm not going to be using this thing too often doesn't mean it's not going to be fully functional. If I wanted to use this thing every day, then I could happily without any issues whatsoever. But I probably won't, simply because, well, I've got an insane set of armor. I mean, look at this thing. It's ridiculous. Why would I want to change out of this? I probably won't. But this build is going to look insane in the Batcave, and that's definitely the most important thing. So now comes the rather tricky job of trying to get each independent item of armor to go into each different hopper line to make their way into the dispensers so that they get put on the character accordingly. It's quite tough, actually. So we've got one dropper here, we've got one dropper here, and then we're going to have another dropper down at the bottom, but we need another dropper to do the boots, or whatever item of armor is left. And right now, I really can't work out how I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm just being silly, but my brain isn't allowing it to happen. After a lot of head scratching, I think I have come up with something that's actually going to work here. So we have got a dropper facing downwards, which is going to drop an item out into the air, which will then fall into hoppers, and they'll be taken across like this. We have these ones, which are going to go into a hopper line that's running across like that. We're going to have these ones up at the top, which will be a hopper line going across here, and then these ones, which will be a hopper line going across here. I think that's going to work, and it's going to look like hopper mayhem. I've brought along a full stack, which is in my chest over there. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Not 100% certain though, because well, there's tons of hopper lines going through this thing. I apologise to all the members of the Hermitcraft server. My base is about to get laggier once again. Now, my original plan was to have the dispenser system in the centre right here. So you stand right here, you stand on a pressure plate, or you hit a button in there, and that will activate the entire system. There is a slight issue though, and that is the fact that these buttons right here would power the top dispenser, which means that it basically wouldn't work. So we're going to have to close up this area here, and we're going to have to build that dispenser system somewhere over here. Will that look cool? I think that will look quite cool, but once again, it will use a ton more hoppers. So we're basically going to add more hoppers into the situation, which is already very hoppery. I think everything is going well. So we've got a hopper line making its way down there that needs to be up here. Currently doing this hopper line, which needs to be up there, and then the other hopper line, which going to the top, is going to go across the top here. And as you can see, I've sort of broken through into the landscape. We might need to do some extra terraforming here, but it's looking good. I think this thing's actually going to work, which is quite surprising because this is a very tightly compacted mess. We're now on our second stack of hoppers, ladies and gentlemen, but the final hopper line is just making its way in, just like this. And that's going to go in front of all of these hoppers right here. And then I guess we should probably give this thing a tester and just make sure that all of the items end up in the right place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my helmet into this one right here. We're going to put the elytra in this one right here, the leggings in this one here, and then my booties down in this one. Then we're going to hit the button and make sure that all of them end up in the correct place. You ready? Okay, that was a good sign. So this one's gone. The elytra have gone. These ones have gone as well. Let's just make sure that the boots haven't fallen on the floor. Excellent news. Right, let's see where they've ended up in terms of the hoppers and things. Now, we should have one different type of armor in each one of these hoppers. So we have got one in there. We have got one in there. One in there? No? That's gone. Okay, this has gone missing. Final finishing touches are going in now. We need all 4 of our dispensers just in like that. And then the redstone to do the automatic dispensing of the armor. And there we go. That is everything finished. We've got all of our armor stands in place as well. So if we hit this button over here, that will drop my armor into the system because I've taken it off and put it inside all the droppers. And that will gradually make its way through all of the hoppers and into this zone over here. Then, once it's made its way in, all I have to do is stand in this section, hit this button, and as you can see, I'm fully dressed. Now, I have to say, that's actually a really cool system, and it seems to be working perfectly. So now we have to get some armor for each one of these armor stands, and also all of the droppers. This could be about to get really quite expensive. Hadn't really thought of that. I do have some slightly bad news though, guys. I don't seem to have too much leather armor. I mean, I've crafted up all of this leather armor using all the leather that I've got. We still need 3 pairs of shoes? 2 pairs of shoes. Yeah, 2 pairs of shoes. I mean, surely I must be able to find some somewhere. And there we go. This thing is now finished. We have got all of the different types of armor in place, including diamond, gold, and iron, which was really quite expensive, but I feel like it really does complete the thing. So I'm super happy with this one. The Batcave has had an improvement. We've suddenly got a new build in here, which takes our build total up to, what, 3? Because we've only got the Batmobile, we've got the giant screen, and now we have our armor equipper, which you can't even see from the entrance, but you can see it very clearly from down here. So that's perfect. Next plan of action is a rather small one, and that is to clean up the area around my wireless redstone door. I don't actually know what happened there, but by the look of things, I just sort of gave up on it. There's loads of exposed redstone all over the place, so I'm going to take some dirt down here, maybe a little bit of stone as well, and we will see what we can do. And here it is. Now that looks about 1,000,000 times better, doesn't it? I mean, it only took a couple seconds. We literally chucked in a few blocks, but that has made such a massive difference. Do you remember what it looked like beforehand? It was horrible. I think we should actually christen this thing by doing a proper fly-through. So here goes, we are on the way. Now my plan is I'm going to come in super fast for this one because I want to go right the way through and into the other side. What is happening there? I keep crashing into the top. Right, let's try this again. So here we go again. Now this time I'm going right the way out off into the forest over here so that we can get a nice flat straight route through the Batcave. Here comes... my word! I can't do it. I seriously can't do it. We are coming in way too fast. This is the final time we're going to do it. So what I need to do is I need to fly really close to that birch tree, but I don't want to hit it. So we're going to have to come round like this, and we're going to have to go round here. That's good, that's good. We're going to have to dodge all of these trees. Dodge that tree! No! How did I mess up then? We did it! We had it! It was there, and we managed to mess it up on this door instead. Well, you know what? I'm going to count that as a victory. I think that went really quite well. So now we're going to create something inside the Batcave, which is going to stop intruders from coming through. Now, I personally think this is going to be a really cool system. I can't wait to build it. So I'm going to do some designing in my redstone testing world. I realise now that this redstone circuit really didn't need to be designed in the redstone testing world because as you can see it's extremely simple, but I'm going to try my best to explain it because this is a really obvious way that I've laid it out. So say for example this lever right here connects into our big piston door out the front of the Batcave. Now currently the door is open and that means that if we go through this tripwire right here you can see absolutely nothing happens. However, when the door is closed this tripwire becomes active and that means that it shoots out potions of poison. That's basically the idea. So we're going to have like a laser security system inside the Batcave that will stop intruders from being able to get in without being harmed. So the first thing that we have to do for this project is we need to make a splash potion maker. Now this should be extremely simple, so much so that I'm actually going to try my best to do it on camera. So I think we need the output there. That's going to be the output for that one. And then we're going to need our brewing stand. And then this. And then this, that's going to have all of our gunpowder in it. And then this chest right here is going to be for the potions. I think that's how it works. I'm not going insane here, am I? And we just need some blaze powder to actually power this thing, which I'm actually going to grab from one of these chests here. So that should save us the effort. And I think that does it. Sounds good to me. So I've just brewed up 6 potions of poison, which of course is what we're going to be filling our dispensers with. And let's give it a go. We'll throw those into the system. They should go down into the brewing stand, which they haven't. Ah. That's a bit of an annoyance. Okay, so we have to create a way to remove these from this. Ah. Yeah, that is... that throws a slight spanner in the works. Or, alternatively, we could just grab them directly from the brewing stand. Is that so difficult? I know it's not quite as automated, but I guess that does function. So our slightly less cool solution to the problem seems to be working. So we now have 9 splash potions to fill our dispenser with, which should be plenty for all the intruders that we're never going to get. So now what we're going to do is actually construct the redstone circuit, and hopefully all of that goes smoothly. So this is what we have going on so far. We've got the output from our tripwire hooks that runs up like this. That's going to go into our dispenser. And we also have this piston right here, which will cut off the redstone line when our door is open. So all I have to do is hook up the redstone from our door and run it straight into the piston right here. And as you can see, that extends. That means that that redstone is now cut off, which means that if we were to trigger this tripwire, you can see that the redstone doesn't make it up to the top there. I know you can't really see it. Okay, I'm well aware of the fact that you can't really see it, but I can promise you that redstone isn't activating. So now what we have to do is you have to pop back up to the top. We have to throw in all of our dispensers, fill them up with our potions, and then we'll be good to go. Now, one thing that I have just thought is, if we fly in using this door right here, and this door is closed, obviously, number one, we are currently trapped in the Batcave, but number two, we will be considered an intruder and we'll be bombed by all of these potions, which wouldn't be particularly good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in an input over here, which is going to run directly into this line of redstone, which should open up our piston door. Now, the only thing is that it is going to have to make its way through here, and it's probably not going to be the prettiest thing in the world, because we're also going to have to add in a pulse extender. But I think I can make it work. And even though we are dismantling half of the Batcave right now, I imagine it will look pretty cool in the end, especially when we have an awesome working system. I've now completed all of the redstone. Everything is now finished. I do believe everything is hooked up. We've got the potions inside the dispensers. We have got our button with the pulse extender to allow us to open the door from the inside. Fingers crossed, it's all fully functional, and fingers crossed, nothing goes wrong here. So we're about to test out all of this stuff for the first time, and I hope that it works. So the first thing that we've got to test is, of course, the intruder system. This is the whole reason that we're building this thing. And if I just walk over this tripwire here, yep, that works perfectly. Right, we have got poison 2 for the full length of time. Around about 16 seconds, I do believe, and that is brutal. Look, I'm taking some serious damage here. We're down to 3 hearts, 4 hearts. That's pretty good. I would be scared. I would be very scared to actually intrude in this place. And now I've got to be careful because there are mobs around here. I haven't done a particularly good job at lighting up this area, so we've got to be very careful indeed. And now what we're going to do is we're going to test out the button system. That seems to work. And if we walk over the tripwire, then it doesn't trigger. Fantastic. This thing is fully functional. Excellent news. So we now have a working security system on the inside of the Batcave. The only slight thing is that is the correct combination. The door is just closed because I broke all of the redstone, and now I can't get back in. And I have 3 hearts, and this guy's chasing me. This is not a good end. And I've just thought that because the door is closed, I can't actually get into the Batcave because, of course, the intruder system is switched on. This is really bad. I guess I'm just going to have to fly in. So now that we've got ourselves an awesome combination lock, we've got a new armory up at the top here, and also a fully functional laser security system in the Batcave, I think it's about time that we leave this area behind. We're going to change up the combination, wait for the pulse extender to go through, and then eventually our door will close behind us. And there it is. The Batcave is fully locked up and fully secured. And now we're going to pop up into the Mumbo jump drone because, well, we've got a few bits to do up there. Now, as you guys know, at the end of these Hermitcraft episodes, I just like to go AFK overnight and see how many items I get. Now, I've been doing a ton of AFKing over at the AFK fish farm, which is fantastic, by far one of the coolest things I've ever built. But I feel like today is time for a bit of a change. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in our minecart elevator right here and go right the way up to the top of the world so that we can load up our AFK mob farm. Now, I need to make sure that this thing is actually switched on, because otherwise we're not going to be getting too many mobs falling through the system. But in theory, we should end up getting a ton of items, and most importantly, a bunch of gunpowder, because at some point in the near future, I want to be using a large quantity of TNT. Now, I would love to say that something happened last night, the server restarted, or perhaps my computer decided to automatically restart and I got kicked from the game, but none of those things are true. Turns out, I'm a total idiot. I turned off my computer. I turned off my computer as I left the office, and that basically means that my AFK session was a complete failure. You can see we have a pretty similar amount of items as we had at the end of the last AFK session over here, which actually went quite well. As you can see, we've got loads of stuff. Okay, I just wanted to see if we could get some extra stuff. And by the look of things, I haven't quite managed to do that. So I guess we're going to have to do another AFK session over at the Mub Farm at some point in the near future. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.